4 years ago, Evan couldn't sit through a cup of coffee without panic taking over. Eating out, meeting friends, even sitting still felt impossible. Today, he's calm, grounded, and sipping coffee like it's the easiest thing in the world. And if you've ever known what it's like to feel trapped in your own body, Evan's story might feel familiar. You're not holding it alone. We'll get through this together. In that moment, I wanted Evan to feel that he wasn't alone and that he could begin to feel safe again. And maybe you've longed for that too, to know that you're not alone and that safety is possible. This is what happened in just 3 sessions and the surprising science that made it possible. We'll follow Evan's journey from our very first meeting to the moment he was able to face the most feared memory of his life and still feel completely safe in his body. As you listen to his story, notice what echoes in your own life, because this isn't just Evan's journey. It's something many of us carry in different ways. That fear for him started one night in Joshua Tree. He was with the 2 people he's closest to. A bad mushroom trip spiraled so far out of control that Alex ended up in the hospital. Convinced they might all die, Evan called his mom for comfort. But the fear didn't leave. It stayed in his body, shaping every day that followed. And that's what so many of us discover. The event passes, but your body doesn't believe it's over. Evan had spent years in talk therapy, deep conversations that helped him to understand why he felt anxious. But knowing why didn't stop the pounding in his chest or the constant tension that made even breathing feel like work. What you're about to see did. And if your body still reacts like the danger's happening now, no matter how much you've talked it through, this same somatic approach could be the turning point for you too. Because this isn't about just pushing through fear. It's about teaching your body that it's finally safe. By the time we met, Evan's life had shrunk around his symptoms. 4 years after that night in Joshua Tree, his body still treated every moment like it was life or death. Maybe you know what that's like, when your world gets smaller and smaller, just so you can keep going. Every heartbeat, every breath, every tiny sensation would send him spiraling toward panic. If he kept moving, working, scrolling, doing anything but sitting still, he could hold it off. The second he slowed down, the floodgates opened. This is a guy who used to grab coffee with friends, watch football with his sisters, or go out to watch a band. Now, even those simple moments were out of reach. And that's often the most painful part. Not just the panic itself, but losing the life you used to have. He already knew the reasons. Years of counseling had helped him to understand the why. But knowing didn't make his body believe it was safe. When I asked Evan to notice what was happening in his body, he didn't even hesitate. He looked at me and said,
I can't stop moving. If I sit still, everything in my body just explodes. My heart races, my chest gets tight. It feels like I can't breathe. The only way I get relief is if I'm completely distracted, working or scrolling. Anything to not be here.
That's because for Evan, tuning into his body meant coming face to face with the same survival responses that kept him alive during the original trauma. Every flicker of sensation carried the risk of yanking him straight back into that state. And here's the thing. If you just pop the cap, boom, overwhelmed. But if you release that pressure slowly, Inside what we call the window of tolerance, the nervous system can settle without flooding. That's the sweet spot for lasting change. So, instead of clamping down on the bouncing knee like he usually did, we decided to run a little experiment. I could see how much energy his body was holding. My goal was simple: give him a safe place to let some of it go without feeding the overwhelm. What if, instead of stopping it, we got curious about it? Those impulses are your body's way of trying to release survival energy. But if you've spent years locking them in, letting them happen can feel terrifying. Part of me was hoping this would be the moment he felt even a little bit of relief, because that's a shift we can work with. I reassured Evan his body knew what it was doing. We added extra support, feeling his feet on the floor, noticing the chair holding him, so he could test what it was like to allow the movement without going over the edge.
I don't know why this is happening, but it feels better. Like pressure's coming out.
That's a spontaneous release. Your nervous system finishing a defensive response it never got to complete. It's your body's way of saying the danger has passed. And when your body finally lets go like that, it can feel like the first real breath you've taken in years. By the end of the session, his tension had eased. The shift was small, but it told us that his body was capable of responding. And that meant we were on the right track. If this is just the beginning, how far can we go in 3 sessions? Sometimes it only takes one small shift to remind you that change is possible. Outside our sessions, Evan's world was still small. Coffee with friends, too risky. Playing soccer with his buddies, off the table. Even a day at the beach with his sisters, his favorite thing, felt impossible. For years, anxiety called all the shots. Any moment of stillness could send him spiraling back to that night in Joshua Tree. That's because his nervous system was like a smoke alarm, stuck on high alert, firing at every tiny sensation, even when there was no danger. Our next goal: teach his body to spot the difference between steam from a tea kettle and a real fire. And isn't that what so many of us want? To tell the difference between what's truly dangerous and what's just life. After session 1, Evan knew his body could start to let go, even just a little. And that was huge. Now, we wanted to take that tiny crack at safety and wire it directly into his brain's memory network. The mission for today was simple, but not easy. Link the worst memory of his life with a felt sense of safety. In neuroscience, that's called reconsolidation. Basically, updating the file your brain keeps on that event. When I ask a client about safety, I'm not looking for my idea of it. I'm looking for theirs. That's what makes it real. I asked Evan what felt most safe and alive for him right now, and his answer came instantly.
Being in the ocean, tossing football with my sisters.
Yeah. That memory had no panic, no tension, just joy. When he said that, I thought, perfect. That's something his body already trusts. When we recall a memory while feeling physically safe, the nervous system can literally rewrite the threat response, shifting it from danger to okay. It's like replacing a smoke alarm's blaring siren with a gentle chime.
I don't know why this is happening, but it feels better. Like pressure's coming out.
That's the moment I live for in this work, when their body starts to tell a different story than their fear. So we stayed with that mix. A little of the hard memory, then back to the ocean, then the memory again. And each time, his body held steady just a little longer. I knew we'd crossed a line here. Not the kind you dread, but the kind you hope for. The nervous system was starting to trust. By the end of session 2, he could think about that night without his body bracing. The fear file was already starting to change. For me, that's what makes this all worth it. Watching someone reclaim a piece of their life that they thought was gone. These moments weren't just comforting images. The right side brain doesn't care if protection is imagined or real. To the nervous system, it feels the same. So when we brought in the people who've always had his back, his mom, his sisters, Evan's body wasn't just thinking about safety. It was experiencing it. From that place of support, I asked him, if your body could do anything right now, what would it do?
Fly like a seagull over the coastal mountains.
You could see everything. The desert, the sky. And for the first time in years, he felt like he could move through it without fear.
It's like one pulse. No part wanting to move away from another. The memory, it's here, but it's not in me anymore. I can actually breathe. That was the moment I knew I wasn't trapped in it anymore.
That's what healing can feel like. It's a kind of freedom that you thought was lost to you. By then, his nervous system wasn't clinging to calm like a lifeline. It had reclaimed it as home. 3 sessions ago, Evan couldn't make it halfway through a cup of coffee without panic clawing at his chest. Now, calm isn't something he has to hold on to. It's where he lives. When we rewrote the memory at the root, Eva's nervous system stopped sounding the alarm because it finally knew the threat was over. He doesn't have to work to stay regulated. His body knows the difference now, and that changes everything. If Evan's body could unlearn 4 years of fear in 3 sessions, what might be possible for yours? This is why I love somatic work, because I've seen how quickly a life can open back up. If your body is still reacting like the danger's happening now, no matter how much you've talked it through, you don't have to stay there. The change can happen faster than you think. If you're ready for your body to feel safe again, not just in your mind, but in every breath, I'd love to explore what's possible for you. You'll find the link below to book a free consultation. Remember, your body is always communicating with you. All we need to do is pause and listen.